So today you're going to be revising your writing so that it really digs deeper into your story. And to do that, you want to find places in your story where you want to get more out of the reader. So for example, if it's a really exciting part of your story, or it was when the event took place, you want to expand and really add to what you're trying to say to engage the reader. Okay. Maybe you are looking at how you can help the reader really picture what's happening, and you want to explain things using the 5 senses. And last but not least, we really dig deeper at important parts of the story. So we really want to expand those really meaningful and important parts of the story. So, if you remember, we took a look the other day at All Ball and how they really dug deeper in this story. So one thing we noticed from this is that the author uses repetition, otherwise known as parallel structure. Okay, so she keeps repeating like I loved, I loved, I loved, and that really shows us that this is a really important part of the story. She really wants us to know that she loved where she did live. Okay, and she also uses imagery. So she tells us about all these different things: clean streets, neat lawns, trim houses, so we can really picture what it looks like there. Okay, and then in the next passage, she uses different strategies. She uses dialogue, which is really important. We include dialogue when we are having those important conversations at different points in our story. She also uses a really neat strategy where she explains her thoughts. So we really hear her thoughts. Okay, and she does that in the story in italics. So that's one way to really show us that this is a really important part of the story, this conversation she's having with her dad. Okay, and in the last passage, she uses a few different strategies. She uses personification to show us the closeness she had with this object. And she uses really interesting and memorable adjectives. In her writing to really help us remember that part of the story, because this ball is perhaps the most important symbol in the story. So what I want you to do is go back to your narrative and see if there are parts in your story. See if there are parts in your story that are particularly important. Okay? So those really turning point events in your story that you might want to spend a little more time explaining. Okay? Or things that you really want the reader to visualize that will really contribute to your overall meaning of your story. And use some of those strategies that we just talked about.